What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with my Resident Evil 2 Remake gameplay for you. And today I'm going to continue my one and done characters in the Resident Evil universe with none other than a very popular fan favorite character, that is Hunk. Now before anyone asks, yes, I know technically you can say that Hunk has kind of been in a lot of games, but in terms of like a meaningful, impactful way, not counting the mercenaries modes and other things, he's really only been in the Raccoon City Adventure. And to me, it's kind of weird because I'll personally say this right now, I am not the biggest Hunk fan. In fact, I've always been kind of curious why people like him a lot, and so I'll just ask that question. If you are a diehard Hunk fan, tell me why you like him so much. What makes him the fan favorite character he is? And I get it, he's cool, he looks cool, he sounds cool, and he is a survivor, nothing against him, but my thing is that I've always wished we could see a lot more of them, and maybe that's where the allure comes, is that we want to see more of them. But for some reason, for a character who is very popular, a fan favorite, no questions asked about that, it just seems like Capcom just, other than putting him in mercenary mode, doesn't want to do anything with the character, and that's the weirdest thing to me. But once again, I guess the other characters are already done, like the Billies and the Carloses, are just basically saying, hey, join the club, so. But unlike Billy and Carlos, you don't really see a lot of Hunk in terms of it. He's kind of just more in the background, and I think that's what really speaks volumes for the popularity there, is even though he's barely in these things outside like the mercenary mode, he has a huge following, and that just makes it, to me, just believe if they actually put him in a meaningful way in any type of game in Resident Evil, he'd really have a huge impact in this whole franchise. But once again, Capcom, as much as I do love them from time to time, they just have these really baffling decisions that just doesn't make any sense. Or maybe it's just laziness or a combination of everything above. But nonetheless, let's just go through Hunk and what he did in Raccoon City. Obviously, part of the Umbrella team and to retrieve the virus sample, but unfortunately everything goes to haywire and he is the only survivor of his team. That's kind of his claim to fame, that he survived, I believe, and as I said, let me know if I'm wrong, I'm not knowing this off the top of my head, but I believe he survived about a week, just basically by himself, which is no easy small task, because just for perspective, what was Leon in the city for, like a day? And Jill maybe a few days, but so, you definitely can't say he's not a survivor, and he definitely can accomplish a mission, obviously, the Grim Reaper. But the thing is like, I've always been thinking about, how can we bring back these characters? How can we bring back these characters and use them in an impactful way? The weird thing with Hunk, and I've always, felt this way for him, by the way, before I get into that, tell me how much BS this is. I throw this thing, it flashes him, and he still does the whole lunge thing, so I have to waste another one so I don't get poisoned. And oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been a while since I played this mode, and I really struggled badly, and I get a few more BS moments as this goes on, but nonetheless, it's back to Hunk. But with Hunk, I've always felt like he's that type of person, very similar to, like, I guess, an Ada Wong, in terms of, you have your protagonist, and you have your antagonist, and then you just have that third party. And I see Hunk as like that third party, that other team or unit or person that you don't really account for, but they're there. And I just feel like he'd be coming in out of the blue and just kind of just, I guess, messing up everything for both sides, ironically enough. And the funny part is like, you remember that mode in Resident Evil 6 where you could join another player's game and be the infected creature and kind of attack them? I can kind of see that in a way with Hunk just coming into like one of our main protagonist adventures and just effing with them and messing with them and stuff like that. And it's just how I've always viewed him, as this character, I guess, the F-up man, just to come in there and mess up the whole equation. And by the way, watch this. How does this dude get me? Come on, man. Like, man, they not giving me a break here. They're beating the brakes off me. If I take any more abuse, I'm going to be on a Lifetime channel. But Hunk, I've just seen him, like, he worked for Umbrella. He's obviously good at what he does. After the whole Raccoon City thing, like, the last we hear of him is that he helped deliver the Tyrant to Alfred. Alfred from Code Veronica. And then it's just like, that's it. And I just feel like I don't see Hunk as a guy to just sit down and retire even less than the other two characters I've done in a one and done. I just see Hunk definitely still going about doing his mission, doing his thing, and whether he's just a hired mercenary or maybe even more depth than that, I just feel like this man he should have been involved in so many adventures, like so many things, and that's the thing that doesn't make any sense is he's so popular, and yet they don't want to involve him. Just imagine, I'm just throwing in a scenario that we're playing like Resident Evil 5, for example, and while you're going on with the main storyline, and all of a sudden, you just have Hunk, who has no affiliation with anybody. He's just kind of doing his own thing, and he wants to retrieve a sample of like Ouroboros and sell it to whoever he's working for, whatever he wants to do. And it's just like an extra third-party X factor on top of the whole, go back there and defeat Wesker and find Jill storyline. Like, it's just been crazy on top of just having this dude come out of nowhere. Not to mention, he's kind of one of those characters I feel like he's more myth than anything else, and he just might have this presence. They could really play it off for dramatic effect. He just comes out of nowhere and just really puts you in an uncomfortable spot because he picks and chooses his spots and all with his experience, and especially experience surviving by himself. I just feel like he could really be an impactful part, and maybe even have his own campaign during some of these adventures where you see what he does, similar to how they had Ada in separate ways. So it just boggles my mind why he's never used. Like, he's just, but I think the big thing here for me personally is, and I think a lot of people will kind of get where I'm going with this, I also get the understanding part of Hunk. He's got the cool factor, but we really don't know anything about him other than he looks cool and he can accomplish his mission. So what would happen if you give him, I don't know, any character traits or depth? It runs the risk of possibly ruining the coolness factor of him. Give a example of it. Like, take example like Boba Fett. Boba Fett from the original Star Wars trilogy. I was never a Boba Fett fan. I was just always like, he looked cool, he sounded cool, but it's like he didn't do enough in those movies to maybe go, oh, I'm a huge fan or something over like someone like a Darth Vader or something. But he was a big fan favorite. And I know they got novels of him and stuff like that, but you get to his TV series, a lot of people weren't a big fan of how they did him in that series and whatnot. They wanted to be more ruthless and be that bounty hunter that they know him as. But my point is, they took a chance in doing something, and it wasn't what a lot of people wanted. So I guess you run the risk with Hunk, because I don't think Hunk is going to be anything more than the ruthless, brutal person that he can be, and I don't think anyone would expect anything else. But I think the thing here to Hunk's advantage is, like, I don't think anyone's expecting any like redemption arc or something like that, but I just see him being like a really just dangerous adversary that you never know when he's going to come, when he's going to interfere. It's going to happen, but you don't know when, and he just can come out of nowhere, and it's really just put your heroes in a really uncomfortable spot. Even the villains at something like that, I can just see him being that iconic third party, and him with his brutal way and doing whatever it takes to get the mission done. And that's the big thing here. He doesn't care who he's got to go through, as long as the mission is complete. That's all that matters. So to me, how can you bring back Hunk other than using him in already games that already exist? But in terms of just new games, use him in that way. Like, for instance, I keep talking about the whole BSA going rogue with the other two characters. I can just see him. Maybe he plays a hand in that. Maybe he's part of the reason it went rogue. He's working for the people that helped turn it rogue, and maybe he's doing missions for them. And I can just see him really being this iconic, like, we always talk about stalker enemies, but I guess he can be a different type of stalker enemy throughout a game where he's just like stalking your heroes. He's studying them. He's looking at them, at their traits, at how they involve themselves in battle and stuff like that, and he can think of ways to just overwhelm you with tactics and stuff, not just having a bioorganic weapon here. But Hunk, man, it's like, I know he has potential to be a great, interesting character, but it's the same thing I said with Ada Wong. Like, Capcom's got to stop thinking like we just want to show the character and use them in the same exact way all the time. Like, oh, we're just going to have them appear in one mini mode and then just put him in mercenaries. No, use him. You have such a potential, because the potential with him is, he's an armed fighter. He can use tactics and strategy. And by the way, before I get off topic, This is so much BS right here. So I'm trying to dodge a big boy, and the dogs keep messing with me, and then they get me. So I put the big nade in his mouth, and I'm waiting for it to explode. And of course, when I'm trying to get away, I get attacked by the other dog, and I'm not using a knife because I'm thinking the thing's got to explode eventually, and it explodes immediately after he bites into me. I'm just so pissed off, and I'm just getting beat down now. But I'm limping to the finish line, boys. I am. But like Hunk with using guns, tactics, he'd just be a different type of enemy because we always think of like Resident Evil and using bioorganic weapons, but why not have a human enemy that really studies you and just comes at you from a different perspective, a different standpoint? That would be something unique and different we really haven't seen in a franchise. Someone who has experience, and maybe he uses the bioorganic weapons to help him on top of having to fight him or ward him off. That'd just be really cool. And I'll tell you what, developers, don't give me the ability to put Hunk in a game, because I'll tell you this right now, I'd have too much fun or something with this. But yeah, I'm surrounded by all these guys. I'm just worried about that one Ivy, but I do got one EMP left to get out of here. But yeah, I barely, as I said, when you haven't done this in a while and you're just on here, it really shows me how strong. By the way, watch this. I hit him and he tanks that. Really? Come on, man. This is a Magnum, for goodness sakes. But yeah, I struggle and I get to the end eventually. But nonetheless, Hunk, bring him back. He could be used as such an incredible stalker type enemy from a different perspective. Why Capcom has never done this or enhanced his lore, I have no idea. But I'm just going off the top of my head here. I want to hear your guys' opinion, especially diehard Hunk fans. How would you like to see Hunk brought back, and how would you use him in terms of future Resident Evil games? Let me know in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. But before I go, as much as I like Hunk, there's one more, or quite a few of his characters that I feel like needs to be brought back in Resident Evil even more than him. And we need an explanation of where they come from and how they can come back in future Resident Evil games. And that is Tofu and his badass unit of Tofu people, because, I mean, we need to know, like, where did they come from, and the unit they have, and the different weapons they have, and all the different variety of the Tofu. I mean, we gotta know, guys. I mean, there's no more compelling character than Tofu and his unit. I mean, it's just, Capcom, how about bringing back all Tofu and his entire unit and having a storyline for them? That'd be a great one. But let me know in the comment section how you would bring back Tofu and his whole squadron in a future Resident Evil game. But for reals this time, that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and hopefully I can see you guys later. Peace.